Let's begin on our backs today. So just lie back like you're in Shavasana. We're going to start there and end there today. So get comfortable. Do anything your body wants in this very beginning shape. So your legs can be long and heavy on the floor. Your knees can be bent with your feet on the floor and the knees touching. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Back of the head on the floor. So you can even kind of scooch the back of the head back so the chin draws in a little. You don't want your chin lifted higher than your forehead. But we always want to keep the back of the neck long and safe. And let your arms just open out wherever they're comfortable and close your eyes. And here we are arriving onto our mats, into our bodies, into this moment. So take a moment first here to feel your physical body, as if you could mentally sort of outline its shape against the earth. And feel the heaviness of your body, the shoulders rolling back, the eye muscles relaxing, the belly softening. And then feel your breath flowing. If it's possible to breathe just through the nose in yoga, it's encouraged. And as you feel the breath flowing, notice your desire to want to deepen it, perhaps. And now go ahead and begin to deepen it. Lengthen out those inhales and exhales. And notice how that feels in your body. Notice perhaps how challenging it is to keep your awareness anchored into your breath and your body, right? The mind is going to start to show itself a little bit more here as you pay attention. And that's okay. The mind is meant to be active. We just give it the breath to return to so that we breathe in a way that keeps us really calm and centered and grounded. And so notice now where you're feeling the breath in your body. Maybe it's the whole torso, maybe it's more in the upper chest, maybe it's more in the abdomen. And we're just going to take maybe a minute or two to really connect to the breath and use the breath as a way to dial down the nervous system. So I want you on your next inhale, if you can, to just let the belly fill up, front to back, side to side. And exhale, let it soften in. It'll just naturally drop back and hug inward. And then again, like that, inhale into the abdomen, belly softening and rising and expanding. And exhale, you might notice it just naturally hug inward without forcing. And now again, inhale into the belly, the abdomen, and up into the sides of the ribs. And then exhale, notice how it softens inward. And once more like that, belly filling, side ribs expanding, even the back ribs. And exhale, let it go. Allow it all to soften inward. There's no forcing. And now again, belly fill, side ribs, back ribs, and now up into the chest. And let it all soften and settle. And let all the breath empty. And again, like that, inhaling, belly filling, expanding, ribs expanding, chest rising and opening. And exhale, empty chest, ribs, and belly. So good. And now just return to a natural, smooth rhythm of your breath. And notice how maybe you're feeling a little more relaxed, a little more present. And notice if the breath is perhaps flowing a little bit differently or into different areas in the body. When you're ready, reach your arms overhead. And go ahead and extend your legs out forward if they weren't. And then just take a nice little stretch from hands to feet. Back of the neck stays long. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. And then you can interlace your fingers back here and maybe even just point the index fingers back. Yeah, and then let's take both feet over to the right edge of the mat and even off the right edge of the mat. So right heel comes over, left heel comes over, and then take your hands over to the top right corner of your mat. So you're sort of making a rainbow or a C shape. And so the right side of the waist is going to get a little shorter, but the left side of the waist is going to get longer. And then if you want a little more, you'll cross the left ankle on top of the right ankle. And take a couple nice deep breaths, relaxing the neck and shoulders and face, and just letting the breath really fill the left ribs a little bit more. On the exhale, you're going to gently pull the belly in to carefully come back to center. So feet to center, hands to center. And take an inhale at center. Just stretch evenly, or maybe you want to shimmy a little side to side. It's all good. Good. Breathe in and breathe out. Yeah, and then we'll take the left heel over to the left corner of the mat, or off the corner if that's nice. Right heel as well. Hands over to the top left edge or corner of the mat, probably reaching past it. And again, if you want more, right ankle crosses over left. Right, so now the right side of the waist is longer, the left side is shorter, the neck and face is relaxed. You can keep your eyes closed or open and feel your breath. Notice in these different shapes that it encourages breath to flow into different places. So long and smooth breathing. Good, and then on your exhale, the belly hugs inward to come back to center. Good, feet forward, hands back, a little stretch again. You can point and flex the feet if you like. And then bend your knees, take your feet onto the floor. Good, go ahead and open your arms out nice and wide again. Don't worry, we're gonna get onto our feet and move a little more pretty soon. Wiggle your feet apart, let your knees drop together here. If you wanna rock your head side to side, that's fine. And then let both, without changing where the feet are placed, you're just gonna let both knees drift over to the left. So the orientation of the feet on the floor is now different, right? You're on the inner right foot, outer left foot. And the knees are dropping to the left. You can turn the gaze to the right if that's nice. And again, you're just creating a little more space here in the right side of the waist. Maybe you're feeling it in the right hip, hip flexor, right thigh bone, whatever is perfect. Take a breath there. And then the belly empties as you exhale, and you're actively going to pull the navel in to bring the knees back up. I almost said feet. And then go ahead and take the knees over to the other side when you're ready. You can turn the nose opposite to the knees or not, depending on how it feels for your neck. Feel the breath flow. So you're really using the breath to anchor the mind to the body. And then on an exhale, belly draws in, knees come back up. Bring the feet now beneath your knees. And when the feet come together, let the knees just drop apart. Back of the neck long, nice deep breath. Belly, ribs, chest. And exhale, chest, ribs, belly. And then hug the belly in toward the earth. Bring the knees up. Beautiful. Hug the knees into the chest if you like. Take a little rock side to side, and then rock over to one side. And we'll press up to hands and knees. So when I used to teach in a real public space with lots of people, it's been a while, I learned not to ask, would you guys like a challenging class today or a more easy class today? Because I always got different answers. And then often as well, I discovered that even if you think you want an easy class, once you start moving, you find you can challenge yourself a little more, or vice versa. So we really don't know until we get there. So let's just stay really aware of sensations and pay attention to our needs. And I'll give you options all along the way if you want to challenge yourself a little more, or have it be a little softer and sweeter. There's not one that's better than the other. So let's take a couple cat-cows here. Maybe you're already doing that. So belly drops, heart lifts, tailbone tilts up and back. Inhale here. And then rounding the back as you exhale. Drop the head, open into the back body. Once more, inhale, shoulders loop back, collarbones wide. Exhale, rounding. Press the floor, pull the belly up and in. And then we'll come to a flat back and neutral spine. So if I didn't mention wrists are under shoulders, knees are under hips, you guys probably know that. We're going to extend the right foot up and back. And notice as you do that, if the hip lifts up, right? The hip point, the frontal hip point points straight down. It helps to turn the toes down. And lengthen the crown of the head forward. We'll root into the right hand and extend the left hand forward. So we're in spinal balancing here. Gaze is straight down, back of the neck stays long. Find that length through the lifted limbs. So now there's sort of a diagonal line of energy running through the body. And there's a lot of the meridians in the body are diagonal. They crisscross. Take an inhale. And then left hand comes back to the floor as you exhale. And just listen up for a minute. Right toes pivot out to the right as you inhale. That's going to lift the hip a little higher. Bend that lifted knee and pull it up to the outer right arm. Exhale. Extend it back. Inhale. Lengthen the top of the head forward away from it. And then toes turn out. Knee comes up to the outer right elbow. Pause here. Give you an option to keep it just like this and breathe. Lifting the heart away from the floor. If you want a little more, you'll straighten the right leg out to the right. That's going to make it a hell of a lot more challenging. Am I allowed to say that here? If you want more than that, lean into your right hand and take the left hand out to the left. So I have my knee bent, pulling up. My crown of my head is lengthening forward, and I have my left arm out to the left, but both hands can stay on the floor. All right, take your left hand back down, bend that right knee once more, exhale. Extend the right foot back, inhale, left hand comes forward, and then knee and elbow underneath you on the exhale, round your back. Extend out once more, inhale, hand and foot reaching apart, knee and elbow underneath you, exhale, you can drop your head. Extend out, inhale, left hand to the floor, exhale, right knee. Let's take the right foot all the way forward next to the right hand. So we're just going to take a little break before we do the other side. Pull the belly in. You can take your hands to the top thigh to help prop you up. Relax your shoulders. And on an inhale, when you're ready, just lift both hands up. Nice and easy. If you need padding for that back knee, go ahead and grab a little padding. Good. And just reach one hand a little higher than the other if that feels nice. Yeah. And then we'll take the hands and drop them behind the back. You can interlace your fingers here or hook thumbs. If you don't have the ability to hook your hands, hands can come right to the hips, elbows pull back. Otherwise, if knuckles are interlaced, imagine the knuckles really heavy, reaching toward that left knee, and the heart gently lifting. And if it's comfortable, you can lift the gaze. And then feel the breath. Keep that right foot pressing to anchor you. Let go of the hands or hips and reach up. Take an inhale, stretch. And hands to the floor, exhale. All right, take your right knee back to the floor next to your left knee. Good news, bad news, we're going to do it all on the other side. All right, there's no good or bad. You do what's right for you. Left leg extends back. Notice the tendency to hike the hip up. You're going to point that hip point down. Point the toes down and lengthen the heel away from the head. And then you'll just lean into, I almost got it wrong, the left hand, and the right hand comes forward like you're going to shake someone's hand, right? So that left shoulder, the one on the floor, moves away from the ear, the gaze is down, the lifted limbs are just stretching apart, right? Balancing the hemispheres of the brain. Keep the breath balanced as well through all of these shapes and poses if you can. I know it's a lot. So just be really gentle and tender with yourself. Good, and then we'll take the right hand back to the floor. Both hands are down for now. Turn the left toes out to the left as you inhale. That hip is going to lift. Bend the left knee up to that left elbow as you exhale. Who cares if it doesn't touch? Extend it back as you inhale. Top of the head reaching away from the heel. Toes out, knee pulls up, exhale. Pause here. Maybe you're just going to stay here and breathe because it's challenging, right? Maybe you want to straighten the left leg out to the left. That's a lot more challenging. Maybe you want to extend the right arm out to the right. So you have options, and I would just advise you gently to listen to your breath. It'll help you determine what is the right option for you, right? So if the breath can't flow, you've usually gone a little too far, and it's just better to back off. Good. If the hand was out, take it back down. If the leg was straight, draw the knee up to the elbow, exhale, and then extend the leg back, inhale, right hand comes forward, and the knee and elbow under your body, exhale, round the back. Good, extend out again, inhale, find that length, exhale, round the back, knee and elbow towards each other, drop your head. Good, extend out, inhale, and then right hand to the floor, right under your shoulder. We'll step the left foot all the way up toward the left hand. You can prop yourself up on that top leg to lift your torso. You roll the shoulders back. Notice the flow of breath. Notice the shape of the body. When you're ready, arms can float up. I sometimes like to lift one hand a little higher than the other, get some length there on both sides of the waist. Do whatever is appropriate for you. Add on, skip stuff. Make it yours, right? It's so personal, this practice. Hands can come behind you, interlacing. And if you interlace, just work one finger over so it's a little different. Or hands to hips, elbows back, right? Whatever you need. Let the heart lift. Let your gaze lift. Let your shoulders and hands get heavy. Let your breath flow. Pressing into that front foot to help support and anchor you. Releasing the hands, we'll reach up. Big breath in, stretch. And hands to the earth, exhale. Good. Take your left knee back to meet your right knee. Cat-cow, inhale, heart comes forward, belly drops. Exhale, round in, drop your head. Good, come back to the little arch, belly drops, heart lifts. Tailbone sloping up and back, we'll curl the toes under and lead with the hip creases as you pull back to downward facing dog. Feel free to wiggle around. Feel free to roll your head. Make sure the neck feels free, to pedal out the knees, bending one at a time. Feel free to just play with stillness. What would feel right for you? Feel free to have your knees on the floor. Feel free to have your knees really bent. What do you need? How are you feeling today? Can your armpits move a little closer together so the upper back broadens? Can your belly pull in a little bit so your low back broadens? Can you draw your thigh bones back so you get a little more spaciousness? Can your breath flow smoothly and evenly? Right? These are all just questions. None of them have to happen. You're just exploring. Good. And then let's lift the heels. We'll bend the knees and look to the hands. Inhale, hip creases pull back. Walk to the front of your mat as you exhale. Lift the heart as you inhale. Your hands can support you on your thighs or shins. And fold in half as you exhale, bending the knees a little or a lot. Maybe rolling the head. Have the feet hips width apart. So good. Let's take our hands to our hips and lengthen the spine forward. So you're going to look straight down at the floor. Back of the neck stays long. Shoulders and elbows draw back. Bend the knees a little bit so the spine can extend. And then press into the feet and rise up to standing when you're ready. Whew. All right, so for me, I often get a little lightheaded here. It's morning. I don't like to eat before yoga, so taking a moment. Wow. Hope you're good. If ever you feel lightheaded, drop into your breath, lengthen it out. Let that blood flow back up to your brain. Palms forward, shoulders heavy. Feel your 2 feet rooted. So you're grounded, you're stable, you're supported. So your head lifting up. Feel how your body feels in space here, right? So you're not just kind of dumping, but you're pressing and rising. Shoulders back and down. You can put a little smile on your face. You can take your hands in front of your heart to honor yourself and honor this practice and everyone that's here with us, showing up. You can send a little intention, a little prayer or blessing out into the world or anybody that you know that might be struggling right now, because there are a lot of people struggling right now. And so maybe, the benefits that we receive from our practice, we can share at least energetically some of those benefits with others. Notice how it feels to be able to do that, or at least to imagine that you could. On your next inhale, you're going to lift the hands up, take a nice little stretch. Folding forward as you exhale, let your head drop. Come to the flat back as you inhale, hands to shins, thighs, or floor. And plank pose as you exhale, step all the way back. Pause when you get there. Knees can lower first as you exhale and then all the way to your belly. Point your toes, roll your shoulders back. Cobra pose. Inhale, hips stay on the floor, back of the neck stays long. Toes curl under, downward dog, exhale. So you can lower and press up with the knees down first, especially if you have any low back issues. You can move more slowly, more quickly. We're going to use the breath to guide us through this practice. So it's again a linking of the body and the mind through the movement of breath. Heels are going to lift, knees are going to bend. Inhale, look forward. Walk forward as you exhale. So each movement has a breath. Heart lifts on your inhale, lengthen your spine. Fold forward as you exhale. You might bend your knees. With a flat back, can you just press and rise up and reach up this time? Hands come to the heart. Exhale, stand tall. Reach up as you inhale, little stretch. Fold in half as you exhale. Let's start to smooth out the breath and smooth out the movements. Flattening out the back as you inhale, maybe hands on the floor with knees bent like me. Plank pose, exhale. We're going to pause to inhale in the plank. And then safely lower as you exhale, knees and then chest perhaps. Inhale to your cobra, loop the shoulders back, pull the elbows back. Glide that heart forward and up. Downward dog, exhale. Hang your head. Add any movement. Feel the flow of breath. We're just going to do one more. It is a vinyasa yoga practice, so I know some of us really like that movement, that flow, and it just starts to loosen up the body and the mind. So heels are going to lift, knees are going to bend. Looking forward as you inhale, hip creases pull back. Walking to the front as you exhale, take your time. Lifting the heart on your inhale. Doesn't have to be the pace of mine. Folding as you exhale, let your head be heavy. You can bend the knees to rise up on an inhale with a flat back. Press and reach. Hands to the heart. Exhale. Remember the prayer or the intention that you sent into the world. Reaching up as you inhale. You can lean back if it's nice. Folding on your exhale, maybe swan dive, one or two of these. Inhale, heart comes forward. Plank pose, exhale. Take your inhale here. Lower safely, exhale. Gentle cobra. Inhale, you're lengthening the front body, back of the neck long. Downward dog on the exhale. And breathe. And notice how your body feels, how your energy feels, how your breath feels, how your mind feels. Let's play a little bit here. So float the right foot up and back. And just pause here. Keep the breath flowing. Draw the left thigh bone back. That's the leg on the floor. Reach the right heel back away from the hands pressing forward equally. And then let's turn the right toes out to the right with a straight leg to start. So the hip lifts, and then we'll bend the right knee and aim that right knee up. And if it only aims to the side, that's totally fine. And you drop the right armpit a little bit inward. Let your head hang free. You can roll it around. So good. And then extend the right foot back, toes point down. Take an inhale. And then shift forward, right knee to nose, exhale. Extend it up and back, inhale. And then take your right knee to the outer right arm, exhale. Listen, you can do this all with that left knee on the floor. Extend it back, inhale. Right knee up to that left elbow, exhale. Shoulders over wrists. Extend it back, inhale. And now we'll step it to the front of the yoga mat. And it's okay if you need to carry it forward. Just grab the ankle with the right hand and bring it up. So good. From here, we're going to pivot the back heel in. So the left toes are going to point to the top right corner of your mat. And then just go ahead and climb your right elbow on top of your right thigh here and lift your left hand up. And if you've been practicing a long time or if you feel pretty open, The right hand can come onto the floor, outside the right foot, and you can press the knee against the arm. I'm taking my elbow instead. So again, now the right side of the waist is a little shorter, the left side of the waist is a little longer. The back foot's really pressing back, and this right hip is hugging back. And let's just loosen things up a little bit. So maybe big circles with this left arm, maybe some circles or rotation with the head. Bottom shoulder down the back a little bit. Good, and then let's take this lifted left hand, spin the palm back so the thumb points to the back foot, and take the hand behind you. And if you can crawl the fingertips over to that right thigh or right hip, or maybe the hand is on the low back, it doesn't matter. But can you roll the left shoulder away from the right shoulder? Can you use a little leverage with that hand against the floor or the elbow against the thigh, just to keep the right side of the waist now a little longer, so you can even coax this right hip crease back. And then maybe you reach forward with the right hand, but maybe you keep the elbow down or the hand down, totally optional. You don't want your heart facing the floor here. We're not collapsing, we're opening. So left shoulder back. All right, on your next inhale, reach up with the right hand and all the way back, reversing your warrior. And just be aware that that front knee's still bent and pressing outward a bit. The back shoulder's heavy, you can gaze up. And then we'll take the right hand forward and we'll release the left hand backward. And then just drop into that front knee a little bit. Keep it right over the heel if you can. Let the inner right thigh roll up. And then can you feel how it feels to hug your two hips together? Sink a little lower. And then go ahead and straighten your front leg and reach up. Good, and then pivot your right toes in. Go ahead and take your hands behind you again, just because I think these are awfully sweet. Roll your shoulders back, draw your elbows together. Inhale, look up, and we'll fold down center, exhale, and hopefully you're not looking at the screen, you're just in your own experience. And of course I say that because my bottom is facing you too, but it doesn't matter how it looks on me. It doesn't even matter how it looks on you. How does it feel? Maybe loop the shoulders, maybe roll the head around, and then let the hands just fall to the floor. Should feel nice, just a nice wide-legged fold. Yeah. And then we're going to start to bend the front knee. And take a moment just to sort of press that straight left foot toward, or left leg toward the back of the yoga mat. And just so you can get a little stretch in that inseam of the leg. And then take your hands to the front of the mat, pivot your right toes forward, drop your back knee to the floor. So good. Release the toes if you like, wiggle the right foot over to the right, take the hands inside. You can let the knee drift out, you can let the left hip soften and the shoulder soften. Feel your breath. You want to wiggle your head around. Some people like to come on their elbows here. What would feel good for you? We have about 3, maybe 2 or 3 breaths here. And with each exhale, can you just soften something? And if you're on the elbows, come back up. Draw the right knee back inward. Take the right hand outside the right foot. And then just pause, taking the right hand to the top of the right thigh here, just to rotate the right ribs back. You can let that left frontal hip point dip a little bit more. If you want, you can bend the back knee, lifting the foot and reaching for it to pull it toward you, just for a moment, just to release the quadricep. And then let it go. And take your right hand to the floor outside your right foot. We're just going to shift the right hip back. So if your hamstring is tight, like mine, you'll walk your hands a little farther back. You'll lift the right toes. You can even prop yourself up onto the hands to the shin or thigh. Good. If you're not feeling enough, you can extend your hands forward and just play with how straight you want to make that right leg. And go ahead and just fold over it, feeling perhaps a little more spaciousness from heel to head all along that back right seam of the body. You can roll the foot in and out. Feel your breath. And again, what can you soften here? All right, let's start to bend the front leg. Hands on either side of it. We'll curl the back toes under. And we'll step this right foot all the way back to plank pose. Let's just pause in the plank. We're not going to lower unless you feel you want to. Downward dog will be your exhale. And a couple breaths just to reestablish this sort of neutral positioning for the body. Flow of the inhales and the exhales smoothly. The softening of the face muscles. On your next breath in, the left foot lifts up and back, three-legged dog. And just pausing, right? Keep the breath flowing, but we're not matching movement to breath right now. The right thigh bone draws back. The left heel draws back. And the weight is equal in both hands. And then turn the left toes open. So you'll notice the hip lift. Bend that left knee, aim it upward. Keep drawing the right thigh bone back. If that left shoulder hiked up, drop it, right? Hands are planted evenly. Neck is soft, breath is flowing. And then go ahead and extend your left foot back, toes point down. Take your inhale, three-legged dog. Knee to the nose, exhale, round your back. Extend it up and back as you inhale. Left knee out or left arm, exhale. Extend it back, inhale, this is it. Left knee to the right elbow, little twist, heart lifts away from the floor. Extend it back as you inhale. And then step it forward as you exhale or carry it up there. So the heel is under the knee. We're going to pivot the back foot flat, angled inward. So the toes point to the top right corner of your mat. So you can keep your left hand on the floor and float your right hand up if that feels comfortable. If your heart isn't collapsing downward. And you can press the knee against the arm. If it's sweeter, left elbow to left thigh. There's really no benefit in going too deep, right? The benefit is in learning to honor your boundaries, right? And get to know yourself. Like, well, what do you need? What would be nicer? And then let's just go ahead and circle around this lifted arm. So we're freeing up the neck, the shoulder. Keep the breath flowing. Make it feel nice. And then we'll take the right hand up and spin the palm back. And then go ahead and take your hand behind your back. And you might notice, like, on one side, it's easier to climb the fingers over, and on the other, it's not. It's okay. We're not symmetrical, right? That left hip draws back. The right shoulder rolls back. Imagine the heart could spin upward, even though it probably won't, just so that it's not collapsing downward, right? And that left knee still pressing out. If you want, you can take this left arm and reach it forward. Otherwise, elbow stays on thigh or hand stays on the floor. You always have options. Back foot, right foot's pressing back. Left hip is drawing back. On your next inhale, lift the left hand up and back, reversing your warrior. And the tendency is to lose the bend in the front knee. Can you bend it a little more? Can you keep pressing it outward? Can you drop that back shoulder and feel the breath flow into the left side of the ribs? Hugging the two hips together a little for support. And then left hand comes forward, right hand reaches backward, sink into the front leg, hug your two hips together, feel how maybe that helps turn on the belly and lengthen the spine a little bit more. Yeah, and then inhale, hands lift, front leg straightens, beautiful, toes pivot in, feet parallel. Let's release the hands behind us. Hooking the thumbs, interlacing fingers, or hands to hip. Do the funky interlace, right? A little different than last time. Heart lifts, inhale, gaze can lift, and down center will fold. Let your head dangle. You can roll it around. You can circle the shoulders. You can let your hands rest on the low back, or you can lift them up and draw the heels of the hands together. What would feel best for you? When you're ready, let the hands just drop. Take a moment just to relax. Although hopefully you were staying relaxed through the whole practice with those long, sweet breaths. And then we'll bend the front knee, the left knee, and maybe that right foot can just kind of press toward the back of the mat. So you get a little release on the inner thigh there. Yeah, and then we'll take the hands to the front of the mat, pivot the front toes forward, and drop the back knee. And then go ahead and wiggle the left foot over to the left, hands inside the foot. You can be on the outer edge of the foot if you like. The knee can drape out. That right hip can dip. You can go as low or as high as you want, obviously. Maybe you're on your elbows. Maybe you're using blocks. Watch the mind if it takes you away from your body and your breath, and just so gently come back. And we're just training the mind to be a little bit more present. Draw that left knee in. Take your left hand outside the foot, and then left hand to the top of the left thigh, right? So that we even things out. You can just rotate your left ribs back. You can stay here. You can lift the left hand. You can lift the back foot and catch it and pull it in. Whatever you need. And then release the foot if you chose to lift it. And draw that left hip crease back. So you're going to straighten that left leg. Again, hands can come farther back onto your shin or reach forward and fold. And just feel from heel to head what's going on. Is there any movement you want? Can the breath flow into all those sticky tight places that you might discover with awareness? Can the breath free things up? Go ahead and start to bend that front leg. Curl the back toes under, hands on the floor flat. Step the left foot all the way back to plank pose. Take your inhale, down dog, exhale. And there we are. Quite complete, little more to go. Let's let the knees come to the floor. We'll crawl forward. We'll make it back onto our backs so we can finish and have a few minutes at least in Shavasana. So you can give your knees a little hug and roll around the feet, roll around the head, whatever you need. I mean, I say a lot of these things because they feel good to me, but they're all just suggestions, right? You do what feels good to you. And then we'll take the feet onto the floor. Yeah. And then let's just lengthen the low back a bit. And we'll wiggle the feet apart again. So kind of send the tailbone down. Knees can knock together, arms can go out nice and wide. Just like we did in the beginning, we're going to let both knees go over to the left. You can turn the gaze to the right. And you're not comparing how it feels this time from the first time. You're just here in this moment. How often we compare and compete and judge, right? As humans, it's just part of our nature. So can we just be and fully experience this moment, this breath, without any comparing or competing, and particularly not with ourselves. On your exhale, the belly hugs inward to bring the knees back upward. And the knees over to the right when you're ready. Turning the gaze or turning the head in any way that feels most comfortable for your neck. And using the shapes and the breath just to stay in this present moment awareness. I mean, many of you probably know that that's really what yoga is all about. It's just learning to be calm and present. It's not just what happens in the shapes or on our mats. So that we can make the most out of every moment that we have in this precious life. This big belly breath. When the breath empties, the belly pulls in to bring the knees back up. And when the knees come together, bring the feet together beneath them, let the knees drop apart. You can turn your head side to side. You can stay in this shape if you like for Shavasana. If you prefer, you can draw the knees together on an exhale. I like to kind of start my Shavasana like this, but it's up to you. Knees can come up and in. Give them a little kiss. Give yourself some love. Take a breath. And then opening to Shavasana when you're ready. Heavy, long legs unless the knees are bent. Shoulder blades can slide down, palms can spin up, eyes can soften and close. And it is still a pose, right? So can you be present for it? Can you experience the softness now in your body? You can sort of scan through to notice if there's any place that's holding or gripping that you can just consciously soften. Notice now the softness of your breath. You're no longer deepening it unless you want to. And just notice its rhythm and flow. And if you so gently rest your awareness on the softness of your breath, the mind will soften as well. It doesn't mean thoughts won't still show up, but the distance between the thoughts might be a little longer. There might be more freedom and spaciousness in your active mind. If disturbing thoughts arise, just let them go and return to your breath. There's a thought that you want to explore or an intuition that comes, feel free to explore it. Whenever you're ready to just let your awareness release from the breath and relax and drift off completely. Let yourself drift inward, behind the body and behind the breath, and behind the activity of the mind, as if you could, because you can. Into just your consciousness, that field of consciousness that is you, that runs the show in the background. It was really designed to get us to that place, that deep inner knowing, that deep inner peace, our consciousness, our essence that's always with us. See if you can just allow yourself to drop into that and relax. In order to respect your time, I want to try to finish at the 45-minute mark, which is now. If you'd like to stay on your back and rest longer, please do. If you're ready to kind of stretch the hands overhead and find that length through the spine again, feel free. Bending the knees when you're ready. You can rock over and come back up to a comfortable seat. Again, staying on the back is a great option as well. I always like to take a moment wherever you are, whatever shape you're in rather, just to appreciate yourself, appreciate these yoga practices, but mostly appreciate yourself. For this work you do for yourself, showing up for yourself, taking care of yourself, getting to know yourself, and honoring yourself. And so wherever you are, take a nice deep breath of gratitude all the way in, let it fill you. And then let your breath go. Allow yourself just to relax for a moment and observe how you feel. And maybe you can carry some of that feeling, some of that calm and presence into your day.